Hello, I'm Sky. This is my boyfriend Cuyler. We are going to do a judge a book by its cover challenge. Kind of, sort of. I read, he doesn't. And so he's going to be the victim of this. And basically I'm going to show him a cover of a book, and he has to guess what it's about by the title and the cover. So, let's begin. This is the first book, The Lucky One by Nicholas Sparks. I don't know if you can see that.
Okay, well, it's a Nicholas Sparks book, so obviously there's going to be a romance in it between young people, male and female, and there's a Ferris wheel, so they're obviously going to live by a pier, or by a lake or something, or by a fairground. There's also a tree, so I'm guessing it's by a fairground. They're going to fall in love, as always, and since it's a Nicholas Sparks book, the girl's going to die. Or the guy's gonna die. Almost always happens.
Sometimes it's the dad. That's actually typically it's the dad.
Someone will die.
There you go.
And it's the lucky one, so I'm assuming only one of them will live. The lucky one. Because the other one's gonna get hit by a car.
I love the back of this, though. This entire portrait of Nicholas Sparks.
It's a sexy man right there.
Okay, so this is about a Marine who, when he finds a picture of a smiling young woman when he's in Iraq, and he carries it around, and he starts getting really lucky, like gambling and just games and everything, and his buddy's like, hey, it's because of this photograph. And then he goes back home, and he can't get her out of his mind, and then he goes to find her, and she lives in New Hampshire, and she is a divorced mom and has a son. So...
someone dies, guaranteed.
Okay. Next book is Shatter Me by Tahira Mafi, and this is the cover.
Okay, with the name Shatter Me, it's kind of giving me the impression that she lives in a world of glass. And with the eye, she's afraid of looking at herself, so she destroys everything she sees. And she runs away to a foresty area, and this represents crying. She's sad, she's upset with herself, so she runs away to destroy the world of mirrors. The best I got.
This is a girl who, her touch can kill people.
Called it.
So you're actually pretty close with that. And the reestablishment has plans for her, and they want to use her as a weapon. And, yeah, and she probably falls in love. I haven't read this yet. Woo! Next one is The Memory Keeper's Daughter, that was weird, by Kim Edwards.
Okay, all I'm seeing on this is a shirt, so I'm assuming it's like the Sisterhood of Traveling Pants, only with a shirt. Sue Monk Kid says it's absolutely mesmerizing, so it's probably a terrible book. It's got a little penguin on it, so
it's because it's Penguin Publishing Company.
It's gonna be in the Arctic, where people only have one shirt to pass around, so they have to share it between sisters. And whoever has the shirt has the memory.
You were close. It's actually this doctor is delivering his own twins, and he has a twin boy. And then there's a girl, and the girl has Down syndrome. And so he tells the nurse, he's like, go put her in the hospital, and the girl actually takes her in as her own, and she runs away and raises the daughter as her own.
Anything close to what I said?
It was sarcasm.
Don't get my hopes up.
Okay, next one is The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Hannon.
Okay. The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. And the dog's upside down, so obviously the dog got injured or is in trouble or something, and it's a curious incident, so he probably got hit by a car, but the car is actually a ghost car, which is pretty curious. So people are trying to figure out what happened to this dog, and the dog's just barking. People are getting mad, they're like, shut this dog up, and then they're like, oh, I got hit by a ghost car. So they're trying to figure it all out, and they're like, okay, this dog needs to shut up because it's nighttime. And yeah, it's this weird looking poodle thing. So that's about all this book's about. That's 100% guaranteed.
This dog gets killed.
Called it.
And this boy is, I think he's autistic, and he just tries to figure out why this dog was killed and everything. And yeah, that's what happened.
Ghost car.
Next book is Cinder by Marissa Meyer.
Okay, with the name like Cinder, it's probably about, there's gonna be fire in it, like a cinder, like make it smolder and cinder, and there's gonna be blocks.
You're not funny.
And there's a red shoe, it's kind of like a ruby red slipper, so it might be like a Wizard of Oz spinoff. And there's also bionic leg, so it might be like iRobot / Wizard of Oz in a world that's on fire. And it's also the Lunar Chronicles, so I'm assuming it's not on Earth. It's on a moon of Jupiter. That's my guess. So yeah, robots, Wicked Witches of the Wests and Easts, world on fire.
You were kind of close. It is an adaptation of Cinderella. Thought you'd get that from the shoe and the cinder. And she's a cyborg, and it is in the future. And so I think there actually are people who live on the moon. So you were close with that. She's not one of them. She lives in like Japan or something. No, China. Look what you did. So that's basically all you need to know. Oh, and next one is The Evolution of Mara Dyer. I forgot how big this book is. The Evolution of Mara Dyer by Michelle Hodkin. I may have told you about this one. It's so big. I forgot how big it is.
What they're trying to represent here is the painting of the God and the Jesus, Joseph, the finger.
The Hands of God.
That one. They're trying to represent that, so I'm assuming she's like angelic. Could very well be. And she evolves to something greater than human. Evolution, ergo angel. He dies and she couldn't save her, so she's all upset about herself. And, yeah, it was like on prom or something, because they're all dressed up. So, or a wedding.
This is actually a sequel in the Mara Dyer trilogy. The first one is The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer. And because it's a sequel, I'm just going to talk about the first book. Because there's a lot of spoilers in this one. So, it's about this girl named Mara Dyer, and she goes into this abandoned, like, asylum or something? I can't remember what it is. It's an abandoned building, and she goes in there with her friends, and it collapses, and they all die except for her. And people start dying around her. Like, she has these visions, like, she, like, will hate this person, like her teacher, and then they die the way she envisions it. And it's just kind of about her, and she moves to Florida, and she meets this guy, Noah, and he kind of has something weird going on with him, too. So, that's basically what it's about. Next one is Silo by DJ McHale. Yeah.
Okay, this one's probably the easiest one.
I want to feel the cover.
Silo, obviously takes place on a farm. You can see kind of a ship up in the clouds. So I'm kind of getting the Signs vibe to where aliens are there. They're coming down in a farm place with a silo. Or that looks like, that's a beach. It's a beach is right on the cover, and that's a lighthouse. So someone lives there. Aliens come, abduct them, and they destroy this person's life. That's all it's about.
It's a town in Maine. Is that where it is? Yeah, it's in Maine. And it's an island. And the U.S. Navy comes in, and they say that the island's been hit by a virus, and they basically quarantine the island. And yeah.
Okay, so...
And it's called Silo because that's the branch of the Navy. That's...
In my adaptation, the Navy were the aliens, so mine's better.
We'll do. Next one is Legend by Marie Lu.
Okay, Legend. Okay, my vibe here is that I'm kind of getting like a military badge sort of thing, and Legend just kind of means like they are the one that like won a war or something. They're the last one left, or like the famous person from the battle. They get pretty high up in the military, then some bad stuff goes down. Like someone says it wasn't actually him, or they're trying to kill him now because he's too much of a threat. It's probably about a girl, now that I think about it. Yeah, it's basically a girl Rambo. That's my guess.
Much. Yeah, there's this girl named June, and she's a military prodigy. And her mom gets murdered, and there's this guy, Day, and he is a criminal. He's like the world's most wanted criminal. And he's the suspect for her mother's murder. And so she tries to go and like avenge her mother's death and stuff. And then it's like there's always a twist and, you know, that good stuff. Okay, the last book is 6 Months Later by Natalie D. Richards.
Okay, forgetting changed her, remembering might destroy her. Okay, so obviously she gets in a coma for 6 months. She forgets her entire life up to that point. And she remembers that her past is very, very bad. She came from an abusive family. Mom and dad killed each other. And somehow she was out, and this was winter when it happened, or she woke up in the winter or something by herself. She was frozen, and that's how she got in the coma. Hypothermia will do that. Brain froze, they unthawed her 6 months later. Remembers her entire life.
6 months to unthaw her.
Doesn't remember her life. I mean, she forgot everything because she got hit in the head from a car crash in the snow. Coma. Yeah, so this is just her trying to remember her past, and find her pet penguin.
Leaving penguins. It is a girl who falls asleep in study hall in May, and she wakes up, and there's snow. She wakes up in a snow field, and she can't remember the last 6 months. She was not in a coma. She lived it. Her life has completely changed. And before she was a mediocre student, and now she's on track to be valedictorian, and she has a hot boyfriend, and all that stuff. Well, that is all for today. We hope you enjoyed this video.
Bye.
Bye. I just want to mint.
Yep. Next book. It's a stupid book. Sounds like a terrible book. I can't spell. I don't read. The best book reader ever. Make my own stories. They're pretty good, you have to admit.